1997 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme SL. Okay, we got everything ready. Axles are in. Brakes will be put on later. The engine bay is ready. This will be going to your oil pressure sensor on the bottom. Anyway, it goes to the oil. Maybe it's for low oil. Anyway, it goes right in the bottom of the block. Right there. I'll have to take those braces off. Find the bolts that go in the back of the block. Also need to torque these bolts right here. I tightened them, but I couldn't put a torque wrench on them where they are. And then we're leaving off the back side of the crossover, or the exhaust crossover, so we can get to these bolts going in. The engine's ready to go. Final steps tonight were just put this in. But this piece took quite a bit of modification to fit the new engine, and that's exactly where it's supposed to be. I checked my own photographs and the photographs in the book. But I did end up drilling a hole here so this would fit. It's actually got a round piece on top of that bolt. It's all in one piece with that head bolt. And then I made it so this would fits in flush with your cylinder head right here. You can see there that finished piece actually turned out to fit just exactly like it should. That's the hole I had to drill for that piece there. You can actually see the top of it. So everything, this is how it looked coming out, except for exhaust crossover won't be going on until later. I decided to oil up the filter gasket and go ahead and tighten it down and leave that on so we wouldn't spill any more precious oil. That piece is going to be left on, or I did install it later. Of course, some nuts will come off and that'll just go straight down into there. So yeah, I read the book, I did some research, and it looks like to me this is the best way for me to install it in this situation. We're using an engine hoist, and we are going to put it in a traditional manner, picking it up, bringing it over, and dropping it in. I'm going to let it go into the front part, and I want to plug in all the stuff that goes in on the back side. This all conglomeration of plug-ins will all go to the back side of the engine. A lot of those will be going to the coil pack, which goes here. This is where I took the coil pack off first, so that'll be the way it goes back in. I thought about doing that now, but I don't know. I've already kind of eyeballed this and I decided to go ahead and wait on it. It could be put in, so maybe we will do that. But the reason I decided to wait is it's got to be bolted to a piece that isn't on yet. Which would be the upper plenum. So I don't believe all that'll be going in. There's reasons I took it off in the beginning before I pulled it out. See, a lot of this stuff is what my book says, and I don't always agree, but in order to put that upper plenum in, you got to put all your fuel injectors back in. You got to put those in first before that goes on. Well, here's your fuel rail right here. That would go on. So the only thing that would be difficult to reach would be this one here. This other stuff that goes on the top, as you can see, all my plugins are laying up here on top. So I can assemble that stuff in the engine and easily bring that over and plug it all in. I don't believe that was ever plugged in the entire time I've owned the car. But one of these two prongs does go down and plug into that. It's probably that long one right there. There's the alternator. Now here's another one right there. They're not all the same. It has to be one that's like that. As you can see, it has an open spot right in the center for something to go in. That plug-in does not have it. It has a special shape. Alright, that's the key right there, the special shape. It actually looks like that one right there. That's the shape that's inside. So that's got to be it right there. It's the only one. So not everything got labeled because at the time, trying to get those off in itself was incredibly difficult. They all come off the back of the engine. They're extremely difficult to reach and get unplugged. And so when I was in the right position to begin unplugging, they got unplugged. I know that makes for a puzzle to put back together, but the pieces are made so that they only fit in one place. So once I begin this process of dropping the engine in, I will continue with it until I have it bolted up to the transmission. That may require some jacking from underneath, because I'm pretty sure that this transmission does not just sit on the frame right there. It's going to have to come up a little. Of course, that'll be also have to be jacked up. The engine will have to be brought in. This will probably come up and over a little bit, and then it'll be bolted to the engine. It's a lot of lining stuff up, and generally it takes time, especially doing it with one person. But if the other person doesn't already know how to do this, that it only makes it take longer. I've tried it. So that's where I'm going to leave it off for tonight. This is John Rudy with Rudy Racing, signing off.